I'm always a big believer in collectively working in partnership makes it much easier, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to aim for the same goals. Instead of trying to go individual, we work together, we work as partnership, we all help each other out. And I think by doing that, we can provide better and greater opportunities for the community.
Thank you, Zach, for joining us today.
No worries.
I guess we should start off with who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Zak Dugdale, and I am the Senior Community Coordinator. Sorry, I had to say that because it's just changed my role.
Just got a promotion, haven't you?
Just changed in the last 4 weeks. So yeah, Senior Community Coordinator it is now.
Hasn't even got used to it.
Yeah, I know. And I work for Hartcliffe and Withywood Community Partnership.
Brilliant. Just down the road from us as well.
Just down the road, about 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Put a Hartcliffe into Knoll West.
Yes, exactly. Well, I live in Knoll, so I'm 5 minutes down the road that way, and I work 5 minutes that way. So
well, I like that. How long have you been at Hartcliffe Community Partnership?
So I've been there just over 2.5 years now. I was first employed during COVID, which was quite funny, working in the community when we couldn't be in the community.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So that was interesting. And yeah, so I started as sort of the youth lead. So I was in charge of sort of putting on activities for young people, building that relationship with young people within the community, and obviously of the local other organisations that work in the community.
So you've been there for 2.5 years now. So you've probably seen quite a few young people come through the organisation.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what memorable stories do you remember?
That's a good question. So we've got a couple that come to mind. So we've had recently, when I first came in, the community asked for a lot of getting sporting activities going, obviously coming back when COVID. Luckily, I had a link with Bristol City Robbins Foundation. We brought these young people in, brought the Robins in so they could start playing, doing sporting sessions. And one of the greatest impacts is that actually that sporting session has now become one of the biggest in Britain. It's one of the biggest Premier League kicks, is what they call it. I think that's where the sponsorship comes from. And it's one of the biggest now in the Britain, in terms of engagement with young people. So it just showed the need that we had in the area to get those sort of activities running.
God, yeah, wow.
Which was brilliant. Me being a Bristol City fan myself it was a win-win for me, getting young people just active again, especially coming out of COVID, getting them outside, getting them working again. So yeah, that's that. I know that isn't just generic about one person, but getting a group of young people involved. And from that, actually, a lot of these young people now become young leaders and actually have now gone on to work through the Robbins Foundation. But also have been given opportunities. One of them has had trials for England girls to football.
Ooh, wow.
And also moving forward, we've had young people leading sessions now and getting upskilling themselves, becoming their own coaches, which obviously has led them to employment, which again is killing two birds with one stone. So
God, yeah, that's incredible.
So that was not all down to me. Again, that's big up to the Robbins Foundation that have sort of helped that happen. But without providing those links and that partnership work, we wouldn't have got to that stage. And I'm always a big believer in collectively working in partnership makes it much easier, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to aim for the same goals. Instead of trying to go individual, we work together, we work as partnership, we all help each other out. And I think by doing that, we can provide better and greater opportunities for the community.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's actually a really nice way of putting it. Like working with other people, you get to share the resources, I guess, as well.
Exactly,
share the networks.
Yeah, because everyone's got expertise in certain fields. And if you draw on all of those expertise as sort of a collective, you're only going to have better impacts in what you're trying to achieve than trying to go alone. And I think that's the same with anything in life, really, isn't it? If you work as a partnership or you work with people, it's going to become easier, because there might be things that other people are better at, and there might be things that I'm good at, and drawing on all of those expertise, we're only going to have those positive impacts.
Yeah, incredible. I couldn't think of anyone better as well, being the Bristol Sport Foundation. I'm a massive Bristol City fan as well.
Exactly. So. Well, there's only one team in Bristol.
Can
Can I say that?
Of course. Yeah, I love it. I wanted to know, though, how did that partnership come about?
Okay, yeah. So when I first came in, I was looking at obviously starting up new activities. But yeah, so I already had a link from someone who I previously played football with. And I just said to him, listen, we really want to get you guys. I knew they were already doing sort of outreach work in different areas. And I said, well, why are you not doing any in Hartcliffe, you know? You're like, well, I can provide you a pitch free of charge where you can come, because I had that link already with a local school. So all you need to provide is some coaches. We can give you the time. So we first started off on a Monday session first started off on a Friday session, which then soon turned into 2 sessions because there was too many people coming. So we had to just do a senior and a junior session to split the times up because we just got overran. And then we decided we needed to do a girls session because what we found was, even though girls were coming along, some girls didn't have the confidence necessarily. So actually to have their own session, provided them with more opportunities and also more time to flourish. And that has worked really well. And we still now have girls coming to obviously the junior or the senior sessions, but they've also got their own session as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I bet the World Cup as well has really got the girls into it as well, hasn't it?
And rightly so, you know. I think going back for when I was young, I think girls had less of a representation in sport. And I think at the end of the day, we all know girls can be just as good as boys at all sports, you know. And I'm a big believer in everyone deserves the opportunity no matter what their background is, which is why I sort of do the job I do. Because obviously I grew up right in Knoll, and I believe we should all have opportunities and all should have aspirations to achieve what we can. So that was one of the big drives behind all the activities that I sort of helped to put on, whether that be we bring an organisation into the area or whether we put them on ourselves. Obviously with my youth work background, we also put on our own activities as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I love that. So I guess the ideas of these sporting sessions was to get people involved.
Yeah, it really, for me, it was just to get kids out away from computers and laptops, and get them out in the community again. Because I think during COVID, not just young people, adults, everyone, we lost that sort of communication sort of wise. Being able to chat to people is such a vital skill. The great thing is, because we do work with other organisations, we can just sort of step in and support them when needed, but actually that's their own sort of session now in itself. We sort of help with the groundwork to bring them in, but now they're so set up there, we can just sort of take a step back, and it allows me to then look at other activities to put in the area.
Yeah, brilliant.
And like I said, anything we do is community led, because I think it has to be. Obviously, being Hartcliffe is seen as in one of the most deprived areas in the southwest, if not in England. There's obviously a lot of funding opportunities that come in. One of the biggest things we find when talking to the community is about trust within the community. They've seen lots of organizations come in because they've got funding and they know they can sort of get funding for that area. But then if there's only something that's running for 12 weeks, the community sort of lose trust with it. And that was one of the biggest things that I found when I first came in, is they chatting to the community and actually finding out stories from the community. Was they wanted... Sorry, that was the coffee coming up there. They wanted sustainability, because obviously if something comes in for 6-7 weeks, then the people leave because the funding's finished. A lot of the community feel like, what's the point of building up these trusts with people coming in? They were so used to people coming in and then leaving because the funding has been over. So one of the things that I'm vital about when I put on activities is it has to have a sustainable future. So what that means is, say our organization's shut tomorrow, these activities can still be led and can still continue. So by doing that, we do a lot of training of community members up. So volunteers within the community, we help train them up, get them through their DBSs, give them the basic training, so safeguarding training or whatever training we see appropriate to the role, or what they see appropriate. If they come to us and say, I want to learn how to, I don't know, do anything, I'll do my best to find out that training and do that for them, because it's vital. We need to be community led, and what we're doing, we're a community organization, and we should be led by the people within the community.
Oh my God, I love it. Like, I never realized this, Zak, but it sounds like you're actually a very good networker. Like, you're out there just talking to people. Would you say that's like quite a lot of your job then?
A lot of my job is networking, I would say. Obviously, we rely on, we on ourselves, get funding in ourselves to provide activities. But like I said, a lot of the activity we do in partnership with other organizations. So we do sessions with like Youth Moves. We do obviously the sessions with the Robbins. We do sessions with Hartcliffe Club for young people, some of the local schools. I work alongside South Bristol Youth. So like loads of organizations that work in the area. But like I said at the beginning, I feel as a collective, if you work hitting the mic there. If you work as a collective, it's only going to benefit the community. So yeah. So I and also I like talking. So you know, I think that helps when you're networking. You know.
God,
and
yeah.
like I said, when I first came into my role, I'm one of these people that if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah.
Like, what's the worst?
You're not
answer?
afraid to ask.
No, I'm
yeah.
not afraid to ask. And what's the worst answer they're going to say? Is they're going to say no. Okay, not today, but then I'll ask again tomorrow because your answer might be different tomorrow.
God, like perseverance as well.
Well, you have to. I think, and like I said, all we're trying to achieve is stuff to benefit the community. So it's nothing about me or any of my colleagues. The bottom line is anything we're doing is to give those experiences to community.
Yeah.
So for example, we have coffee mornings every week, which we run with the community, and then they're brilliant. You should come along to them because they're great. And some of the input you get, this is where the ideas come from, because the community might say, we had one the other, we want to organize a trip for kids away. We want to take families away because we don't often get opportunity to go on holiday. So now I'm looking at funding opportunities and places that we can go away next year, maybe just for a weekend and take groups of families away. But
nice, yeah.
that wouldn't have come about if the community hadn't come and told me this is something that we're looking for, you know? Because there's no point trying to put something on that the community are not going to be interested in.
No,
because you're setting yourself up to fail there. You want to be backed by the people that you are not serving, but the people that you are working with and working for, you know?
So you guys obviously do quite a lot of other projects other than just the sporting activities.
Oh, yes. So like I said, we do a whole range of activities. So just for example, this week, Monday night, we run a social action group for young people. So that's been running for about 2 years now. We started that in the summer of 2021. So when COVID was just coming out and I was actually allowed to go out in the community, we started it as a summer project. And then the group of young people that we started with really enjoyed it, really wanted to make a difference in their community. So it's for young people aged 13 to 18. So if anyone wants to come along to that, it's Monday nights, 5 till 6 p.m.
Love it.
Yeah, got to get that plug in there. But yeah, so one of the things that and it was a group of young girls that started it, to be fair.
Okay, yeah.
They came up with the name SAFE, and it means social for action for everyone.
Oh, very clever.
Yeah, so and that was all their idea. So all we do is come and facilitate that, and then it's sort of led by the group about what they want to make a difference to their community.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And one of the big projects that they worked on, which was in 2001 now. It was around this time of year they started planning it, and I think they implemented it in about November, was nighttime safety. So they felt that at nighttime, they felt a bit unsafe about walking around the community. So like they said, when they talked about it, they said, well, we're not going to change this overnight, but if we start highlighting the issue and start getting the conversation going, then that will be a good start. So what they did is they came together and they organized a nighttime walk where they invited all the local councillors along. They invited the local police team. They invited all the local community team, anyone that wanted to come along.
Wow, that's quite big for like that.
It was. And these are only 14, 15-year-old people. So this is all their idea. So I'm not taking any of the credit for this. I was there just to help facilitate, help guide them along the way. And the whole premise was to turn up, wear bright colours, and we're going to walk around with a speaker with music on and walk around at nighttime. So we waited till it got dark. We met in our community room and then we did a whole walk around the community with lots of colours. And we had a very good turnout. The Bristol Post turned up, which was great. So they got a good positive story out of it. They went on our podcast that we run and talked about it, which you can still find online. Another plug there.
Yeah.
And they done that all themselves, and I was so proud of them because you could see from the initial planning stages to actually going through with it and actually running it. So they had to do their own risk assessments. And for 14, 15-year-old people, it just showed what a positive difference they could make in their community. And it got people talking.
Yeah.
Like I said, and the reaction from the community was very positive, and we had, I don't know, about 40, 50 people that came on this walk. And, and I know they're planning on doing that again. So it's something they want to now make sustainable and do year by year. And hopefully it grows and grows. But like I said, that was just one story. They also helped with last winter with the sort of feeding young people. So one night a week, they went and got their own funding, and they managed to feed young people one night a week. It didn't matter. Any young people in the area could come and get a free meal at night time, and they would put on activity in the area. So one week they'd have Chinese, so they'd done Chinese lanterns. The next week they'd done fish and chips, which was the English week. So, we did Indian. So each week they had a different theme, and they'd done an activity alongside that. But again, this was all by the young people, all delivered, all planned. And that was another, great success story. So we do social action groups. We have a group of young parents now that run groups on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday. So we do a Lego group on a Tuesday. So these parents came and said, we want to start a Lego group. Well, actually, a young person came and said it. Last year he won the Mayor's Award for it.
Ooh, wow.
His name's Landon. So big shout out to Landon. But he came with the idea he wanted to start a Lego group for young people in the area, families. And now we open up our community room. We help get funding for Lego, and they literally come and just play with Lego. And there'll be certain themes each week where they have to build certain, like if it be a castle or a tower, but it's all led by a young person who started with that idea, and he leads it and we help him along that way. So we help facilitate that need for him. Another group, which is on a Wednesday, is more of an arts and craft one, which they actually came up with the name Heart Attack, which I love.
Very clever again. God.
I know, these I wish I could claim these ideas.
Yeah, these are like marketing gurus in the making.
I know. And it just shows when you allow the community to input in from the planning stages, they really do get involved.
Yeah, they feel like their ownership, I guess,
it's
as well,
ownership,
don't they?
Exactly. And now I can go along to these sessions, but I can also take a step back because we've helped train a lot of these parents up through their safeguarding. They've gone through their DBSs, they've gone through their training. So we can now actually, as an organization, take a step back. We're still there to support them. So anything that pops up, we can help support them. But this is the whole idea when I talked about earlier, sustainability, is that actually we allowing, like you just said, the community have ownership over their activities, and they're just flourishing at the moment, so we're getting great numbers each week, and you start seeing the success stories through the case studies, through people showing actually what they've achieved. You get kids coming now who never thought they could do art before, and now really wanted to do art courses when they want to go to university to do art. So they probably wouldn't have had that if they hadn't had that opportunity, And we just started one yesterday, which is called Out of Tune. And it's sort of a drop-in where we've got a karaoke machine, hence the Out of Tune. I did have a go on it yesterday, and it was definitely out of tune. I think the Wurzels are the only one I can sing. But yeah, so that works really well. And again, that was just an idea that the parents came about and said, oh, we would love we want another group. So now we've got something running every night of the week from our community room. It was a safe space. People can come. They come after school. It's open. We don't charge. We say if you want to put a donation in, you can, because all the donations go back into those sessions, so back into the community. But we don't charge anyone to any community activities to use our community room. It's all free of charge, because the whole idea, again, is sustainability.
Yeah.
Heart Attack, one of the groups, have now got a couple of £100, I think, in their pot, which they can put into getting more equipment or whatever they see appropriate. And that's where it becomes sustainable. So actually, we don't have to look for funding streams for them anymore, because in their own essence, they've become their own funding stream. Again, so it goes, I know I keep saying the word, but it goes down to sustainability, doesn't it? It goes down to, and again, community input from the beginning. All these ideas came from the community, which is why we have, I guess, such great numbers engaging with those activities, because the community want to do them.
Yeah, brilliant. You definitely said earlier about being community led. And when you said that, I was just thinking, okay, so you go into a room, you probably just ask the community what they want, and then you do it for them. But actually, it's so much more than that, isn't it?
It's so much more than that. That's one way. We can go and we can say we've got our social media, so we can put up posts. Have anyone got any ideas? So when I start planning the holiday activities, I will always ask out, what would you like to see in the community? Or you look on previous things. So previous activities. Last summer we got some laser tag equipment in.
Oh, nice.
For one of the sporting activities, and the kids absolutely loved it.
I
so,
bet.
so already we know, because of what the kids are telling us, we want to do that again, or let's look to get that in again. We've got a suggestion box in our community building, so if people don't feel comfortable having that conversation, they can just put an idea in the box. We then look at that, and then we can go, oh yes, that sounds good, let's have a look into that. So I know I spoke to you previously last week about, so we've been asked about photography.
Yeah.
So you very kindly put me in contact with someone, and now we're sort of looking towards doing some workshops in photography.
Awesome, yeah.
So that just shows how it can work. So I then go to the people that I've networked on, and I might draw an idea. So, can I speak? Do you know anyone? Because I'm not an expert in all of these fields. I'm not trying to claim I am, but then I look to find people that are experts and go, well, can you help us in this? This is what people want. And then it's about, again, that partnership work, isn't it?
I love it so much. Like, I always knew that you were like a youth worker, and I always had a preconception of what a youth worker is, like just talking to the youth sort of thing, like making sure they're okay and then what they're feeling and stuff, and then what they need. But you're obviously much more than that. You facilitate
when at university I did youth and community work, so I sort of I drew on not just youth work and that, I drew on the community work and that sort of aspect. But through my career, I've worked in so many different sort of occupations, or different, I don't know what the correct word is now because my mind's gone blank, but different places. So I worked in schools for a while. I've worked in children's homes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I've worked obviously within the community. I've also worked in recruitment. So I've worked in such a different array of different places. I think that's helped me build on my sort of skills. With being able to talk to people, my communication skills. And like I said, I'm a chatter. So I'll sit and chat to anyone all day. If it means I don't have to sit at my desk.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. If you're in a kayak, you're happy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm always happiest. My passion is working with young people.
Yeah.
And that's where my passion's always been, and like giving young people opportunities or experiences. Because I feel when I was a young person, that's what really helped me, building on experiences. And there might be stuff that young people have never tried before, but you give them that experience, and they might turn out to be the next footballer, or they might turn out to be the next artist or the next singer or whatever, But unless they've tried it, how do they know they're gonna have that passion or that engagement? And like I said, because I do a lot of activities every night, I try and stay active. Yeah. And I think it's important to lead by example when you're doing that with the young people. I used to work abroad doing sort of activities in the hotels for young people. And the people that sort of poolside getting people up. Not just young people, adults. They used to be the poolside boy trying to get people up playing water polo and etc. But I think that's where I got my passion for doing active activities from. Because I just love, that was my job, just being able to sit in the sun and just do activities all day, play volleyball or whatever. So, yeah.
I wish I could have did that. I wish I was in a more active role, but I also love what I do too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the great thing. We're all different. We're all individuals. And that's what the whole great thing about working in a community is. You meet so many great people that have all got their certain skills or their interests for it. Like, I had a conversation the other day with a group of people and they was, we really want to get into reading again. I said, brilliant. We've got a library here. So I went and spoke to the library, and now we're starting a book club. So it's just these little things of, people have links and they come up with ideas, and actually sometimes people don't have the confidence to sort of start something. So we can come in and sort of be that bridge in that barrier for them,
Yeah.
And then start. So now we've got a book club running, and, I think that's great, and like I always say, we have our podcast room at our place, and if people were interested in doing their own podcast, we would let them have that for free,
Yeah,
they can come in. There's a group of young people that were doing some raps outside, so I got them inside and they recorded their raps on our podcast machine,
Nice.
So it's just little things like that where I think it's sometimes just using your initiative, and just actually going, well, nothing's too big, like sometimes we ask the kids, what would you like? Or we want a roller coaster, that might not be feasible in Hartcliffe, but what we can do is organize a day trip to a theme park. So you meet in the middle, you're still listening to their ideas, and most people just want to be listened to. And I think that's a skill that a lot of people don't, not necessarily have, but I think it gets overlooked sometimes.
Yeah.
And we're all busy in our jobs, but actually just taking that extra 5 minutes to listen to someone and make them heard and actually understand where they're coming from, goes very far. And that's one thing I find, especially working with young people in the area.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, young people can be tarnished by saying, oh, they're misbehaving, they're doing this, they're doing that. And actually, there's a reason behind behaviors. And actually, it's about us as professionals or even people in the community just listening and actually going, so I can hear you. Yeah, I can tell you're pretty annoyed today. So tell me about it. Why are you annoyed? And let's look to find that.
They probably never been able to give it. They've probably not been given that a chance very often, have they?
Exactly. And this could, like, we could talk about this all day, you know.
Yeah.
And it's one of my passions, you know. But it's about people need to be heard. And I think not whether it's young people, whether it's older people, whether it's you know, anyone in the community. Everyone needs to everyone should have their voice, you know, and everyone should be heard.
Yeah, and I think also people should have that passion as well. If once they found something that they like doing. One
of the things that I definitely found coming in was people would often say, "Oh, there's nothing to do around here."
Yeah,
there's nothing to do around here, and so I was like, "Well, let's have a look." And actually, there is a lot to do, but people were not communicating what there was to do. So actually now in our building, we don't just promote our activities. We'll promote any activities within the area, whether that be a dance class, whether that be, you know, a writing class, whether that be anything. As long as it's accessible for the community, we will advertise it because we want to be able to signpost people everywhere, you know. We also have in our community building, we have like family law advice come in. We have sit-ins, South Bristol advice. So we try and cater to the needs. We have shelter come in on Caring for Bristol. So we can help people with their housing. Whereas we might not have the answers, but we can get people in that can have them. So we have weekly drop-ins that the community can use. And that's all we try and do, really. Look for opportunities to support the community. I know I keep saying that, but that's what we do.
That's brilliant. And I mean, I love the whole breadth of stuff that you've got going on as well, from social action to Landon's Lego group.
No, exactly. And that's why I love my job, because every day is different. Even though we have I might be in my Monday, I'm always doing the social action group. Within the day, the amount of people we have coming into community building, you have so many conversations with people.
Yeah.
It's always fresh, you know, like, and every day is different. I know a lot of people can say that, but that's one thing I really do love about my job and working within the community is no day is the same. Even if you think and you planned it, this is what's going to happen today. Like, I didn't know I was going canoeing until earlier today, you know, and now I turn up to this all wet, you know. But you know what I mean? That's part of it, isn't it? And it's part of the fun. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I think you've got to enjoy yourself, and to be sort of in this sort of line of work, I think you need to have that enjoyment and that passion to want to help people, but also to be able to listen to people, you know.
Yeah. I guess if there was someone listening to this and they like the sound of what you guys do, like, what would you say to them?
Well, we currently are employing, so
there we go.
So we do have some job roles coming out. So you can look at our website at www.hwcp.org.uk. But yeah, you can look at our website or look at our Facebook at Hartcliffe Withywood Community Partnership. But also just get in touch with us. Come along. We're always looking for new volunteers to get involved. And like I said, we're always looking to upskill. So when you come into volunteer, it's not just about the volunteering, it's about the training you might get from that, the confidence you might build. And like I said earlier when we talked about, that has led into employment for a lot of people. So you build on these skills, you get the confidence, and then from that, opportunities do arise, you know. And it's not just that saying of, oh, come in, you can volunteer, we need volunteers. No, we do need the volunteers. Like that's how it works. But actually, we want you to be involved. We want you to have your say. We want to be led by you. Like, you know, it'd be great if not that I didn't have a job anymore, but it would be great if there wasn't a need for me to be there anymore, you know, that the community could just lead this, and they can. There's nothing stopping them, you know what I mean? There's so many great people with great minds within any community, and it's just about drawing on them and giving them that confidence to come out and do that, you know?
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I bet you can see their confidence right from the start. Like, I bet Landon now is absolutely buzzing. He's got this
exactly. And you do see it. You do see the journey they go on. So with some of our volunteers now, when they first came to where they are now, the confidence in them, they're like, right, this is what we're doing today. They're planning their sessions, you know, and that's something which I know they won't mind me saying. Some of them wouldn't have had the confidence to do that before, you know?
Yeah.
So it definitely does. And that's one of the greatest things about my job, seeing that journey that people go on, you know? It's like a personal journey, but a journey it's just brilliant to see. So yeah.
I guess as well, like the confidence sort of thing, that's quite a hard thing to measure. but you've seen it personally. But like
the hardest thing I think about our job is measuring impact.
Yeah.
In a way, because you get the old generic ways, which is, how many people have come to a session and engaged. But sometimes you might only have 3 or 4 people at a session, but the impact they have had, or it's had on them individually, has been massive. So actually, for me, that's just as good of impact than if you had 100 people come in, but maybe not getting much out of the session.
Yeah.
So the hardest thing is measuring impact. So we do lots of different ways that we can monitor. Like I said, we do case studies. We ask community members to feedback, whether that be through a podcast. So every few months, I'll say, do you want to come on and talk about the podcast? Because we might be having a conversation now, and actually you can see the impact through
what
people talking, through what they're saying, rather than trying to write down or,
And I bet they say stuff as well that surprises you as well. Like, I never thought.
And there might be stuff that you might not notice, but then they'll say, this has really affected me in this way, or I was really struggling with my mental health issues and now I'm feeling really great. How do you measure that without someone telling you that? Or, and some of the measurements might be personal to them.
Yeah.
So it is in that sense, it is hard when you work with community to measure impact. Obviously, there's certain funding that we go for that you have to have certain criteria in. So you do have to measure certain things. And like, again, sometimes it is a number counting or thingies. But really, I think now most funders are looking more for the real impacts now instead of just ticking
just the
boxes.
numbers. Or,
exactly. And like I said, some sessions we can have hundreds of people at, which is great. And it looks great. But actually, what impact is that actually having, on these individuals? We want to see the actual impact, and each impact can be different from one person to another. We're all individual. So this is why we've got to be creative in our sort of approach of when we're measuring impact. Like I said, through case studies that we do. So if we can get volunteers into employment, example, that's a success story in itself.
Yeah, definitely.
By giving them that confidence, or by giving them training, there's all a hell of a different ways.
It's like, I don't reckon here at North West Media Centre know that they are the reason that I do what I do now. Because it was when they came back to Brislington, gosh, I don't even know how many years, I don't want to say. But back when I was in year 7 and they did a photography course, that's what got my passion started, and like narrative storytelling and stuff. Like, they wouldn't probably know that.
No, and exactly. And it's the same with me when I was starting to get into my sort of teenage years, start maybe messing about a bit, or and a youth worker really supported me within school. So they put me through a program which is sort of like a peer mentoring program.
Okay, yeah, nice.
So then I sort of peer mentored other students, and that's when I sort of got the passion for that.
You were mentoring other students whilst you were a student?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So it was a great scheme, but by that they sort of taught me some fundamental skills, and then also youth worker out of school time sort of got me into a football team, and we started me and my friends sort of started a football team, which we started playing, and that sort of kept us out of trouble in a way.
Yeah.
But also, then you know what it's like growing up. You're always going to take risks and stuff, and also it's about knowing actually if you you're not naughty just because you've done one naughty thing, and that was the impact it had on me, and that's why I started wanting to do youth work, as well as my parents were sort of in that field as well, so they sort of gave me that sort of insight into it. So I think a combination of things, but then I don't know if that youth worker would ever know that's what started me on that journey. And actually, like you said, to measure impact, there might be something which might have happened 10 years ago, but you might not even see that impact till 10 years later. So how do you measure that? It might be a conversation that you have with a community member that might suddenly just click with something, and so it is really hard, I think, to measure impact. So
I mean, it's been absolutely incredible to hear all the stuff you do, and I've no doubt you will definitely be having an impact on a lot of people's lives.
Well, I hope so. And like I said, it's that old generic saying, even if you're helping one person, that's better than no people, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
And I know that's an old cliche, I guess, or an old thing, but I think it is important to remember that day to day, and also remind yourself. The big part of my job is reflection. So reflecting on your activity, reflecting on yourself, what's worked well, and sometimes admitting to yourself sometimes what hasn't worked well.
Yeah.
So then in the future you can look for other things.
That's a very good point, actually. Like, doing a retrospective on your projects can obviously help you quite a lot too.
Getting feedback from the young people, getting feedback from community members, but also being truthful to yourself.
Yeah.
In a way, they might, there's not always going to be in a positive, have a great day. Everyone knows that. No one's going to have a great go through every week of their life having a great day, even if they put on that charade or whatever.
Yeah.
But actually to remind yourself and actually be truthful with yourself. Sometimes it is about looking in the mirror and going, oh, that didn't work too well today. What can I do to make it better next time? Or I've had a bit of a bad day today, and being truthful, not just to yourself, to your colleagues, and to everyone, like going, I'm struggling a bit today. Perhaps your colleague can take a lead on something, or, and I think that's another important part of life. But again, it's about building those skills and building up that sort of resilience, I guess.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this chat. I think it's been...
Oh, yeah, it's been lovely.
You've been very forthcoming, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
There is one last question I want to ask.
Ask away.
So I feel like you guys have also been very successful already. So how do you take that even further?
I think it's just about empowering the community as much as we can, getting as many people involved in our projects. Again, partnering up with more and more organizations, because like I said, as a collective, we can achieve loads, can't we? Individually, it's going to be much harder. So always trying to work and looking at ways we can work with new people. And like I already said, it's just about listening to the community. Is the major thing. And yeah, just try and achieve as much as we can, but as a collective, that's all I can really say about it, really.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking that away. Like, you can do more together for sure.
Definitely. And like I said, we as an organization, we're only a small organization ourselves, there's not many of us in there. So it's about managing that workload, because if you're trying to do everything on your own, you're going to burn out, aren't you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We've all done it. We've all tried to take on too much, and I definitely have before. So actually taking a step back, going, all right, we want to get as much on, but what's realistic? If we need more on, we need to get more people involved with it, So whether that be other partnerships, whether that be community members, it doesn't really matter to me as long as we are impacting that community. So that's all that matters.
Oh, that's such a great way to end this. Thank you so much, Zak.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Cheers.